Hey guys, it's Vera Wylde and I am back with more tips for beginning cross-dressers. Now, it was pointed out to me when I talked about going out in public, there was one aspect of that I kind of skipped over and I didn't address, and that is restrooms and whether or not you should be using a ladies' room or a men's room. And as much as it pains me to say this, the honest answer to that is if you can avoid having to use the restroom at all, it's probably the best thing. Now, when I say that, that is in reference to anything that is not a trans or gay or drag sort of event. If you are going to a gay bar that is having a drag or trans night or some sort of trans ball or whatever, I would say it's entirely up to you, but go ahead and use the ladies' room. That would kind of be the expectation in those sorts of situations, that is where you would go. But, you know, it doesn't really matter though. Now, when you are going out and you're in dress and you're not at those sort of events and you are not at a drag ball or a gay bar or something like that, my honest opinion is to do a bit of research before going there. See if the place has private bathrooms or sort of more open, the stall setup. Because if the bathrooms are, you know, single occupancy, you go in, you lock the door, and you're the only one in there, honestly, it doesn't matter too much, and in either case that way. So probably better just to use the ladies' room in that case. But if it is a setup with, you know, where it's a room with stalls and you're going to be encountering other people in there, it's best to avoid that completely if you can, because there's problems either way. Again, specifically if you're at an event that isn't expecting, where people aren't expecting to run into a cross-dresser, my first thing is never assume that you're passable. I never make that assumption. I actually kind of operate on the assumption that I don't pass, which is something I'm going to talk about in another video, but never assume that you'll fool anyone. That you could just go in and into the ladies' room and no one will know and no one will notice. Just, it's a very dangerous assumption to make. It's slightly different if you are actually transitioning, if you're on hormone replacement therapy or anything like that. But if it's just clothes, if the only difference, if the only thing that is making you a woman is the clothes you put on and a wig and makeup, don't assume that you can just waltz into the ladies' room, because you can get into a lot of trouble in that. You can get the police called on you for that. And unfortunately, on the flip side, if you go into a men's room, it can be really dangerous. And because you can run into men who simply can't cope with what it is that you're doing. And unfortunately, when you go into a bathroom, even though it's a public area, it's a much more confined and private public area, and it's the kind of area that's just private enough that men who freak out feel they can get away with hurting you. Because it is a public area, but it's just private enough that they think they can do that and they think they can get away with it. So I wish we lived in a world where you could just go into either bathroom and you'd be safe either way. Unfortunately, that's not the reality. So when you are going to a gay bar, drag event, trans event, use the ladies' room. It's fine. You'll be all right. When you are going to a place that has single occupancy toilets, use either one. I would lean towards the ladies' room. But if all they have is a room full of stalls, try and avoid it altogether if you can, just because there are dangers both ways, neither of which are things you really want to open yourself up to. So a little bit of a downer on this video, but I hope that people still found it helpful just for me to talk about these things all the same. So until next time, guys.